Ian, our pals at Limited Run, they do their own little presentation video. It's goofy, it's fun. It's like it's charmingly low budget with like fake people in the crowd and like a rendered stage. So the biggest thing to take away from their slate of upcoming releases, they're doing their last Vita title. But the big
thing is the Star Wars licenses.
They have acquired. They've done a deal with Disney for, I believe it's not just Star Wars, but also Disney games. But obviously the big thing is they're doing Star Wars physical re-releases of games from the 90s.
Yeah, and other LucasArts stuff. I'll go through the list real quick. So, Curse of Monkey Island, Monkey Island 2 Special Edition, and Secret of Monkey Island, and then Secret of Monkey Island Special. Well, okay, so those are
for
special
the PC.
editions. Those games are fantastic. It's awesome that they're coming out. Then Star Wars for the NES and Game Boy, Star Wars Bounty Hunter on PS4, Star Wars Dark Forces PC. That's a cool one. I will probably snag that. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, PC and N64. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, NES and Game Boy. Star Wars Jedi Knight, Star Wars Jedi Knight 2. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. Star Wars Racer Revenge, PS4. Rebel Assault, PC. Shadows of the Empire, PC and N64. TIE Fighter, yes, PC and X-Wing. Hurrah! So sad to see the Super Nintendo ones are missing.
Well, we'll get to that in a bit. Let's start with what's here. This is the majority of the Star Wars games from the 90s. These are most of the heavy hitters that you would expect to say, okay, remember the best Star Wars games from the 90s? Go.
Dark Forces. I'm so excited about
Dark Forces. I don't know if you can say it's underrated. As a game, it's underrated. It's a first-person shooter Star Wars game.
It's a sleeper.
Somehow a sleeper. By the way, Star Wars Jedi Knight is really Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. I'm not going to... But they probably try to erase that from memory because they kind of switched the Dark Forces monitor to be Jedi Knight at that point. Because Dark Forces is fucking cool. You know why? No lightsabers. Sorry. It's a
not
game with
one.
Not a one. And you get the job done. But you know what? They had to turn my man Kyle Katarn into a Jedi, of course, because Star Wars nerds need everyone to be a fucking Jedi. Sorry, go on. So what's really cool about this is this is the first official re-releases of N64 games, I believe, as well as Game Boy games. Standalone titles that have come out before officially getting re-released. And actually... NES as well. I'm trying to think. Well, we got Metal Storm, and that's out. So okay, but the first I think Game Boy and N64 ones, definitely N64, with a real license. That's impressive. And obviously, we're going to wait to see what accoutrements come with these, and what are we going to get with these. We're going to get pins. We're going to get coins. We're going to get a Kyle Katarn figure, please. In Dark Forces, that would be great because that was a Shadows of the Empire figure. So the only things missing from here on N64, you don't have Rogue Squadron. No Rebel Assault 2, but no one cares about Rebel Assault 2. The first one's one everyone remembers and loves. Not that Rebel Assault 2 is bad, but one is memorable.
You only, for an FMV game, you only need one.
But these are the games. Yeah, these are the games.
I can't wait for TIE Fighter, X-Wing, and Dark Forces.
No, I will get Dark Forces. So conspicuous by their absence, though, is the Super Star Wars trilogy.
I noticed that immediately. I love those.
Excellent trilogy of games. 4.5 stars according to a certain Super Nintendo guidebook that's being developed. So you don't know why they're not on here, but I would think that once they run through these, they would think that, maybe someone at Disney doesn't know that they were big hits, even though Star Wars was a million seller, one of the 8 to 10 million seller Super Nintendo games. And those games did so much goodwill in the 90s to help keep Star Wars alive and to transfer the love of it to the next generation. Because you're 10 years old, you're 7, you're 12, and you didn't grow up. You were too young to grow up with Star Wars.
Sure.
The only thing you had was those dumb Ewok movies, in the mid 80s. So it was a way to relearn the trilogy in a cheap way, because not everyone had a PC in the early 90s to even get X-Wing and TIE Fighter, but a lot of kids had a Super Nintendo. So it's strange not to see that trilogy on here. I think eventually they'll have to work out a deal to get those. I'm not sure why they're not here, because when you see Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back on NES, Those did not do the movies justice at all.
Those are not very good.
Those aren't good. I don't know about the Game
The Game
Boy
Boy
version.
ones are not very good.
Are they similar?
They're similar, yes.
So that's strange to me. Maybe they want to see how those do first. But if you came out with the Super Star Wars trilogy and did like a box set version and kind of made it like a VHS box set, you would sell a jillion of them.
Yeah.
You would. And even though those games aren't super expensive to define on their own, if you added enough cool little grabby stuff in there, I think you would sell a ton as a box set. I think you'd have to do a box set of those three. I think you would have to. And I think it would sell. So the first one that's going to come out is going to be Star Wars Bounty Hunter on PS4, and then they're going to transition into these. And I believe these are going to come out at a fairly quick clip here. But the good news is that now they establish a relationship. If these sell well, you have the whole Disney game vault that you can more easily get at. And that includes Mickey Mouse games that you can get at for re-releases if people want to, the Genesis Mickey Mouse games or Super Nintendo games potentially. That's important. Is there anything else you think that's missing here? Shadows of the Empire having that, I think is going to be a big one too.
I think Shadows of the Empire is going to be one of the biggest ones.
That was a one that for the teenage crowd, I remember in the mid '90s, that was like, holy shit, this is cool.
I'm sure there's a reason for Rogue Squadron not being there. It is fairly popular, at least at the store. But I think Shadows of the Empire is the real important one there for Star Wars fans, anyways.
And Episode 1 Racer is really nostalgic for a lot of people younger than us.
Better than the movie that spawned it.
I was going to say, that was probably the big, Episode 1 game.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Of the ones that came out. So, a great arcade game. Remember the arcade game?
Oh, God, the arcade game was fantastic.
The actual pod. Oh, man. Man, you don't see that often anymore, do you? Wow.
I don't think I've seen it since it was current.
That game was thrilling.
Yes.
Movie, not as much, but that game was that game was thrilling to play. So
all the thrill of that 2-hour movie condensed into 1 quarter.
I am in for Dark Forces. I'm likely in for TIE Fighter and X-Wing here.
I think those three I would want to be in for.
And I will wait to see how the NES Star Wars and Empire games look and what's included, because those games they're a struggle to get through.
Yeah, they're not.
I reviewed the Star Wars one. They're a struggle. Empire, I think, is even more difficult than the Star Wars one.
Yeah, they're not fun.
And then, there's lots of other stuff that can go into the LucasArts vault is huge. And you got the Indiana Jones games.
Yes.
You do Indiana Jones trilogy re-release Super Nintendo. Ooh.
There you go.
All right. So good times for Limited Run. Good company. They're blowing on up here.